Are you ready to increase your retention and revenue and convert website traffic to clients? Then you're ready for Maya. Maya is a marketing and client recruitment software. Maya creates better business relationships by pairing the right clients with the right beauty professionals. How do we do it? A matchmaker. Your brand will have its own unique matchmaking survey. By pairing people based on their skill set, budget, personality, and lifestyle preferences, Maya creates lasting relationships that keep both sides coming back for more. You don't get a second chance to make a first impression. Pair the right clients with the right beauty pros the first time. Visit joinmaya.com to get started.
Thank you for joining me. This is Katie Whitledge with the Beyond the Technique podcast. Has this happened to you? Have you lost really influential stylists? Today, we're talking about how to overcome that loss of very influential stylists. I have a very special guest who is the award-winning owner of the one and only Venue Salon in Lakeland, Florida. We have Patricia Uiterwyk here. She is someone who just gets after it, someone who gets it, someone who has gone through all the trials. And think of it, Florida, hurricane. Like, she is really persevered through many, many seasons of various challenges as being a salon owner. So she's the perfect person to be here to bring you hope, cast vision for your 2025, and also share what she's done that has made her business so successful and created this exceptional culture where even with loss, you can be even better and better and better every year. So without further ado, help me welcome Patricia. Welcome to Beyond the Technique.
Hello, thank you for having me, Katie. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here, and thank you so much for making space for us today.
Oh, the pleasure is mine. I could hang out with you all the time because you're wonderful. And it's just fun to be in a room with like minded people
Yeah.
who really have the same passions that you have. So you are that person. And I love that we're doing this together today. So if you wouldn't mind, Patricia, just reminding people a bit about yourself and, the kind of quick and dirty version of your industry journey.
Absolutely. So I own Venue Salon and Spa. We are an Aveda salon here in Lakeland, Florida. We started in 2017. We are a $1.4 million salon. I have a team of 20. And we are absolutely in love with our community. We pride ourselves on our relationship with our community. We participate in major philanthropy efforts twice a year. We do, of course, our Earth Month efforts, but our heart really belongs to October. We do a lot for Breast Cancer Foundation here in Central Florida. We raise money. We have a great masquerade and party every October. Our team gets really into it. Part of our culture, giving back to our community. We also participate in a lot of advanced education. We technically and also outside of the technical realm too, which we'll talk about a little bit later. We pride ourselves on communication, being guest obsessed, and just, pouring back into our people and really finding the potential in each other and bringing just being our best selves. And that's proven over the years to win us some accolades where we've won Best Salon in Lakeland the past couple of years. We've been acknowledged at Salon 200 and some various things that we're really proud of. But honestly, it's my team that makes up the heart of the salon, and they're just so talented, and really we have a wonderful culture that it's really a pleasure to be in every day.
It's so fun that we're unintentionally, or this wasn't planned, that we're both wearing pink and that you have like the biggest heart for October and breast cancer awareness. I do love how philanthropic your company is. And always like what you just said about being guest obsessed. I love that. I almost want to put this like big in a break room for everybody, right? Like we are guest obsessed. Like this is our affirmation in front of us every day. So I love that. And you have gone through various trials, but let's first look at 2024 as a whole. What have been your top two most successful kind of moments or things that have happened for your business this year?
Yeah, so successfully, we consistently run, retail per client ticket. We run one of the highest in Florida, for our Aveda Florida companies. So that's awesome.
Okay, well, what is it? We want to know.
We run over 20, like around 22 to $24. So that's, I mean, consistently. So that's a big accolade. I think that the win there, again, the answer is community. We find local vendors here in our community that are like-minded, and we fill our retail lobby with really cute handmade or locally made hair accessories or brands that our guests find through us, and they're either a philanthropic give back. Our hair accessories are made by a company that hires women coming out of domestic violence or homelessness, and that's where they find their seamstresses. And or we find an African American woman who makes her own handmade jewelry, and she works with her three daughters, and they supply all of our jewelry and necklaces and handmade scarves or things like that. And the retail area becomes a shopping experience that's fun. Everyone loves shopping. No one really likes being sold to. So getting like just changing, flipping that switch from selling to shopping, I think is the answer to that. And of course, product education is super important. Getting the products in our stylist hands for them to be using at home on themselves and their families, so they really see the value of it. And other wins this year has definitely been, honestly, our curl education, our technical education when it comes to texture. We've really invested in and had a no excuse policy on hair is hair. We go back into the institutes, into the schools. It's fresh on my mind. We do Great American Teach-In, and I made a point when we're doing classes that we're working primarily on textured mannequins, not just blonde straight hair mannequins. And we've flown in educators all the way from Arizona to Florida to specifically hone in on a whole market of hair cuts, hair color, hair textures that we didn't really have experience in. And to be very vulnerable, but the salon didn't look like it didn't look like how I knew it could. I knew we were not we had an area that we needed to improve.
Yeah.
And so now I feel like that's something that our team is a lot more confident on. We still have a way to go, but that I think is definitely, if you're not investing in education for texture, you're not investing in growth, because that's where it's going.
Wow, this is huge. And I love how you brought up the shopping part. I think that when we look at the top 5 areas that are the most lucrative, women wanting to feel and look good is actually top 2. I won't say the first one because it's kind of gritty. It's like men's pleasure. And I literally just looked at this. But that is that switch of how do you create a space where they feel like they actually are welcome to shop. I think some of us set up our retail that you can go up and look at it, but I mean, there is no welcoming, like touch play experience. So huge. I think that's really, really cool and inspiring for people listening to that portion. And I agree with you. I think textured hair is hair. It's like we need to know how to work with all fabrics in this industry, and it's very simple. We look at hair as fabric, and depending on the fabric of hair, we are, approaching that in whatever various way. So I love that you said that that is no longer, like, it's not negotiable anymore, and that's just a standard across the board. I think that's massive. I want to get into 2025, what your goals are, but let's really dive into overcoming loss of influential stylists. So recently I noticed in a Facebook group where many, many salon owners live and look and participate in these engaging posts, a question was proposed, like, what's the most challenging thing you're going through right now? And after reading the various answers, to me, I summarized it as we go through emotional burnout. It's like, and it's not just one thing. It's not just losing a top stylist. It's how do I make everybody feel happy when it's like impossible, or you do your best to make everybody happy and that one person's unhappy or that one thing happened. It's like you feel like you've done it all and it's still not good enough. So emotional burnout seems to be a top struggle for owners right now. Behind the scenes, you kind of shared like it's not just one thing. We've kind of led up to this, and you personally have gone through loss of influential style. So, what's your take on what you've overcome and just what owners are feeling right now?
Sure. So a loss of team members is inevitable, right? I just want to preface that. Like, it's all love, right? We live in a global society where your stylist could leave the salon doors today and find a job today. If they wanted to get on their phone and apply for a job in Australia and get that job today, they probably could. I mean, it's just a global economy, a global job market. And experienced stylists are in demand and they're so valuable. And so to preface that, there's changes of careers, there's marriage, there's divorce, there's children, there's additional children, there's so many reasons, moving, your spouse's career that can cause these ebbs and flows and people coming and leaving. And so taking out the nuance of the situation and really just making it about losing an experienced influential stylist in your salon, there are things you can do to really, gosh, I think we all like think back like, wow, I knew that was going to happen, or I had no idea that was going to happen. So how do we tap into resources and communication, and what can we do now to make sure our team's heard, we're heard, and that those lines of communication are open so that everyone's feeling like that they have a seat at the table, and that they're happy, and that the relationship's good and that the communication's flowing, and at the end of the day, people are productive and they're getting out of what they are looking for in your company, what they need financially, motivationally, career-wise, educationally. There's a lot 2024 employees are looking for.
Mm.
And so it's a relationship. And I think that when we're talking about hairstylists, it doesn't matter what career you're talking about. In all careers, there's a chunk of time in everyone's day where they're managing drama. Whether you're a nurse or a doctor or a secretary, administrator in a school. And so that is what I really wanted to study and find out data on, and like how do we get, this is every salon owner's problem, this is every boss's problem, this is everyone's problem. And so really what I wanted to do was bring in an expert and help me untangle what was going on and how I can take these on average 2.5 hours of non-productive emotional time. People are allowing people to vent or get stuff off their chest, or they're talking, or they're filling in the blanks, or they're, just filling in the stories in their head, and it's not productive. It's really damaging. It's damaging to themselves. It's damaging to the company. It could be damaging to the guest experience. It could be damaging to other people in the room. It could be diminishing someone else that's not even part of that conversation of drama. And it's causing that other person who's sitting on the other side of the salon, like, I don't want to work in this environment, right? So we brought in an expert who specializes in personality and communication assessment. And we really dove in and we did a personality assessment, learning style assessment. We did 2 different ones on our entire team. We did this first with our leadership team. And so we did a working genius assessment and a DISC assessment, which gave us kind of a roadmap. Have you had any experience with these before, Katie?
Well, I love that you asked that because we have built disc personality profiling into Maya, which people will hear about throughout the show. But yeah, I mean, I love that you did this. I think that this is what this podcast is called, right? Beyond the technique. It's what you're providing and doing for your team that goes beyond the technical aspects of being behind the chair. So please
Oh,
share,
yeah.
share with people
So
who may not know about it.
I think we can all agree that the business we're in is an appointment-based business, right? It's a time-sensitive business. And when we're in the thick of it, we have our next appointment coming in. We've got 20 minutes to do this, 15 minutes. Everything's on the, like, everything's functioning. And when something gets thrown off, time management is very important. So this was an exercise that convinced me that this was going to be what was helpful. Imagine a piece of paper, Katie, right? A piece of paper that has, it's already filled out with numbers 1 through 100. Okay, just that paper, just pretend that paper already has 1 through 100 on there. And I play a thing of music for 10 seconds and I'm asking you to find 1 through 10 as fast as you can, but all these numbers are jumbled and they're all on this one piece of paper and you're just like, I was in a room full of people doing this exercise and we got maybe to 4 within that time frame. So then our instructor said, okay, now draw a line through the paper all the way down and all the way across. And I'm going to tell you the number 1's in quadrant 1, number 2's in quadrant 2, 3's in 3, and 4's in 4, and then back up again. 5 is here and 6 will be somewhere here. Play the music, go. How fast do you think you'd be able to go to 1 through 100? A lot quicker, right? So they played the music. We're going through our numbers. Some people got to 30, some people got to 14, some people got to 10. But we all got further. But the point of the exercise was to show if you know someone's behavioral style, if you know someone's thought process, if you know someone's learning style, it's almost a short cut to communication with that person to be effective, time saving, and super, super, super direct and to the point. And they hear you better, they feel honored and respected, and it's almost like a hack, right? And I was like, this could be something that really works. So we did the assessments on our team, and everyone loves taking quizzes about themselves, right? It's the basis of your whole business, right? And of course, we love Meet Your Aveda Artists. Our guests love Meet Your Aveda Artists. We love opening the results. We love getting the results, right? So everyone got their packet. It had all this information about them. And it was so eye-opening to them. They got it right in their inbox in their email, and they had the whole weekend to process it, talk about it with their families and loved ones. And like, is this me? Does this sound like me? And some people compared it to horoscopes and stuff like that. And some people were like, wow, this is like, I wish I knew this before. And then we went into our couple of days of training and we did this out of our space. We found an event hall that allowed us to use their space that had a stage and chairs. And we did a little bit of theatrical different role plays where certain types got on this side of the room and acted out things, and certain types got on the chairs and did certain things. And we got to see that we all have geniuses and strengths. But when we're working in our frustrations and not our geniuses and our strengths, that's when we get burnt out. So you could be in the industry that's right for you. You're just sitting in the wrong chair on the bus. Doing something every day in your location. You're doing something every day that's just the drain part of your job, when that could easily be delegated to someone who sits to the right or left of you who would love to do it, you know? So it gave us a map as to who's in the room with us. And we changed our whole break room into these maps and interaction guides and descriptions and words to use. And it really changed it changed everything for us. It is like learning a new language. I'm saying this now after almost being a year into it, because now it's something we're practicing and using fluently as a new language, but it took time.
Oh man, that is so life-changing for your team and culture. And I applaud you how you said it's taken time, but you haven't given up. I think sometimes we have these moments where we learn something new, and it's like reading a book. You might remember that one little thing about the book, but we never study the book and remember all the things. So it kind of falls away at some point. So you've done this. It's now a part of the fabric of your team, and it's this ongoing pursuit. That is the key here. And I think that that is huge. I know that there are some other things you've done intentionally that have helped you overcome those times when you have lost influential stylists. What are some of those other initiatives that you've put in place for your company?
So I love that you asked that question because it is it is something that affects the entire business, right? It's affecting your guests, it's affecting other team members. And so really meeting people where they're at, having those conversations and talking about, um, expectations. So you're in a relationship with someone, and um someone's reason for leaving may be shared with you, but someone's reason for leaving may be different when it's to the team, right? When we're human and when people don't have a full story, they tend to fill in the blanks. So I think, communication is key. And in a conversation, we're learning something and we're sharing information and going into the conversation, learning something about each other and coming out of it learning something we didn't know before. But something I think about all the time is, like in a relationship, knowing, and I don't want to say job description because that sounds so stuffy, but I think just knowing what everyone's expectation is,
Mm,
and understanding what the salon's role is and what they're going to provide for you, and what is your responsibility to provide for yourself.
mm,
Clear is to be kind, and to make sure that that is completely laid out and clear. And I'll give you an example of why this is so important. Imagine being in a relationship with a new boyfriend, and you're putting everything into it. You're working really hard at making time for each other, and you're investing a lot of time, talent, and treasure into making this thing work. And you find out he's got two other girlfriends, and you're in a polyamorous relationship or whatever. You didn't know. He knew the whole time. You didn't know. You know what I'm saying? You would have played it a whole different way if you had known that that's was the deal. So that's how important it is for us as a leader, leading people of different generations, leading people with different personality types. People hear things different, read things differently. People fill in stories, they fill in the blanks. And I think that it's just really important to really connect with people as often as possible, checking in, asking questions for the purpose of understanding, and finding out people's frustrations as much as their strengths, because it's the frustrations that get people to that are going to be what people leave for. And I'm sorry, but the truth is, if you are the leader of your company, salon, even if it's two chairs, you know the least about what's going on than anybody. You know the very tippy, in my opinion, the very tippy top of it. There's so much more of an iceberg, right? That's underneath. And it's up to us to really have those conversations and seek to understand. And if there's underlying problems in the culture, because that's usually what it is. It's usually things that are going on. And again, not perfect. I've learned many lessons.
how
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
How have you personally changed in light of how our industry and team expectations have changed? What is different about you as a leader now? I know this one.
I think it's managing the frustrations of my seasoned educators and team to meet our up and coming talent where they're at. And I've had several conversations recently with other salon owners in my area that have lost educators,
Mm.
or their educators are on a pause right now. They're just, there's a big burnout there. And I bet people listening right now are feeling that too. Um, there's probably a million reasons, but we need to fix it. We need to fix this. We need strong educators and strong leaders for our next crop of people coming up. I've said this so many times this quarter. There are team members that don't even know yet as much as you've forgotten about doing hair.
Yeah,
They
that's a good one.
haven't
That is.
learned that they haven't learned as much as you've forgotten.
Mm.
And when you put it in that framing, in that perspective, they're like, it doesn't, you still have to mentor, you still have to show. And that's why I think knowing how people learn and knowing how people communicate is so important, because some educators get super frustrated. I do too get frustrated. I'll be very vulnerable. And if she were sitting here, she would laugh. So I have permission to share this story because I've shared it before. I had a stylist. She's been with me for 2 years now. She's amazing. Hired her fresh out of school, and I think we had a conversation about cutting a piece of paper, and she asked me, "How do you want me to cut the piece of paper?" And I was like, "We just cut them in half." And she literally wanted me to show her how to cut. And this is someone who cuts hair, so I was like, "Just cut the piece of paper." And after this training, I was like, oh my gosh, I understood she was, a personality type who was needed to be shown exactly. But once shown exactly, like, she won't deviate. Like, that's how it's gonna be. And she's consistent. She's gonna do it that way. And come hell or high water, she's gonna do it that way, no matter what, perfect every time. But she had to be shown how to do it. Me, on the other hand, I'm so opposite. If someone asked me to cut a piece of cake, you asked me to cut a piece of paper in half and then showed me how to do it, I'd be like, why don't you just cut the piece of paper yourself? Why are you showing? You know what I mean?
Oh
And
my God, it's so funny. Yeah.
but I would have flipped out if I didn't. You know what I mean? Like, some people would be like, what?
So, like, most owners be like, I don't want to micromanage you, just do whatever. And I'm like, kind of funny because I'll be like, oh, I'm so glad you asked. This is actually kind of how I want it to be done, but you could do your thing. Like, I almost feel bad having an opinion about it. But can I bring something up? And I think this will be kind of good for you, for me. I don't have this all put together yet. Okay. But I literally this morning had a conversation with our GM. And I said, you hear all the time in the industry how important it is to have a growth path and plan for your stylist, right? They want that. They want to know that if they start today, that in 3 months it will look like this, in 6 months it can look like this, in a year, in 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, whatever, right? But we don't have, at least I don't yet, we're working on it, a growth path for our trainer educators, for our guest services team, for our location managers. And that is literally on our docket right now. I said to our GM, I'd love for you to put together a first draft of what our growth plan and path look like to even our social media marketing rep, or
Yeah,
pro, I should say, because she's a part of the team. She only works on our team, right?
right.
So maybe for owners listening, that needs to be part of the path. Like, I'm in this role, and in order not to feel burnt out, I have these things to look forward to, just like we do for our stylists. We almost need that in place for all of those very important people who play more than one role. on the team. How do you feel about that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think succession in addition to that, right? Like, what's the salon owner? Like, I love my company. I love my team. Multiple locations. You may have a team that's an amazing team that you want to grow. And the only way you can grow them is to have them another space, right? Or put them they want to have their own space. Well, why can't they do that through you? And so there are ways. So some things we've done is our state college has a management program I put some of my team through. There are young leadership programs that I found through my Lakeland Chamber of Commerce. It's a summer program. They teach them about the different parts of not government, but like this board of water, electricity, and they teach them about our city and about our county and about and meet different leaders in the community. And they're given an award and a certificate at the end. They have to do a type of charity to graduate. We also have implemented some different, you can bring in different things to get the community that you have may have gems that you can bring in for your team if that's what sparks them. You know what I mean? Because honestly, if this is it, like a salon is the hub of your community. And we're broadcasting all over, but in these programs is where I'm finding 1,000 people move to Florida a day. 80 of those people are moving to Lakeland a day. And I want those women to fill out your survey and get matched with my people.
Yep.
And I want to know when those guests sit in the chair, my team know to answer the questions, and they're fueled with answers, right? Like they know how to talk to the people that are asking about our community and what turns them on and what gets them going. And the only way I can get to know that is if we have that open dialogue and communication.
Yeah, the guest obsessed. I love it.
Obsessed,
Well,
yeah.
as we look into 2025, and many owners, today is December 9th, many owners are really thinking ahead, wanting to get through the holidays, but also thinking about next year and the coming year. What are you focused on that is tied to major growth for your business? What are those top 2 areas that you're going to hone in on?
So on the back of this conversation, I think it's perfect as retention. So what is going to create retention in my business? And I think that with retention and employee loyalty is benefits, right? What can I offer? And so I scour and look for whatever I can bring to the team. So is that prepaid legal? Is that a nurse that they can prepay and have doctor's visits and nurse visits, a membership concierge? I have an open house every 6 months where I invite vendors in from the community that work with small businesses that we don't have to get a whole plan. They can sign up individually. I bring in different insurance reps. I bring in different people from the community that offer like Aflac and different health things. And I'm happy to share that with you in notes where we can reference a list of that. There are now through our Chamber of Commerce and through small business connections and networking groups, I've found independent people that come in and kind of do this 2-hour open house, and my team gets invited in. They bring in swag and breakfast. So I think finding benefits that you can afford, make it so there's not another place that will have these to offer. And if you're not having fun, you're done, right? So find what turns your team on and what they're interested in doing. We're having our holiday party. They want to have a fire outside and have s'mores and spiked hot chocolate. That's our holiday party. We choose how we want to do our philanthropy. We did a masquerade in October. We sold out our masquerade a month before the event, and it was $150 per ticket. And we raised over $30,000 for our charity. And that's only with our friends, family, and guests, So it's it's about having fun, and it's about doing things together that you couldn't do alone. And with this team, we can make anything fly. That's what I always say, and just doing those check-ins too, with your leadership. Like, I'll tell them sometimes, like, I'm not at a 10 today, guys. I'm not operating at my best self right now. I'm toggled down. I'm not there. And last week I was there. I had the flu, right? And I'm just transparent, and I'm like, I got a tap. I'm leaning on you guys right now. And next week I'm gonna be back in on it, and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna be great. But it's just that being just being really transparent about it, and them knowing where your heart is, and knowing that you really do care about them as a whole person, but that you do have that really high standard for your business, and for their trajectory, and you're being really honest about it. But if their focus right now in this season is their work-life balance, then that's where you're gonna have to meet them too. You know?
I want to
It's
summarize a few things from our conversation as we near the end here. And that is that I hear, without you saying this, and everybody listening is going to feel the same, like, you lead with your heart. You are so in this for the relationship aspect for both your team and your guests. And that it takes these really quite personal, vulnerable conversations and building trust and transparency in those relationships across the board. And that kind of pairs with my second takeaway is personalization. As much as we want to make it such a special custom experience for each guest, you are really creating a team and culture where you are trying to personalize this for each person that's on your team and in your charge. I just love this. I think you are so exceptional. And for people watching on YouTube, there is something special about watching you speak. I'm like, you need to speak more at events or something, Patricia, because you are so active in the way you talk with your hand. And that's the thing. Like, Simon Sinek would say, the best speakers use their hands like 80 times per minute or something nuts, right? And like, I just, you are special. You get it. And I just applaud your willingness to show up and give the energy towards the drama that can oftentimes burn us out. But you're like, this is what I signed up for. And if I were in any other role with any other company, if I'm a leader, this is what you sign up for. This is part of the package, no matter what. So why not make it part of the package in this industry that's so great and has been so good to us? So I love everything you brought up today. My final question for you is, what would be some words of wisdom or encouragement for owners listening today that might feel a little bit discouraged as they are entering into another year, and what would bring them the most hope?
I love this one. So I one of my mistakes I made was having this open door policy where people could come into the office and sit and talk about anything. And I thought that was being a great leader. And really, what it was giving someone half of an ear, and them not really feeling heard, me not really hearing the message, and not being the great time. My brain is doing something administrative, and now I have to hear something that's emotional, jumping back into it just wasn't great. And so, making space to talk to people and saying, this is super important to me and you, Katie. I think it's so important that we need to make the space to talk about this. And then really changing that open door policy where we can talk about anything is really, I'm here as a support to make sure you're working as your best self. And I define venting as this. Venting is taking a car for a ride by your ego, and you've carjacked your brain. Your ego is now in the driver's seat, and you are having no accountability, no responsibility. You're venting, you're crazy driving, saying everything that may or may not be true, may or may not be completely accurate. It's one-sided. And then you're taking me for the ride, and then you're dropping me off and saying, better not say anything, or I'm going to come back and I'm going to getcha. Don't say, I don't want anything done. I don't want you to do anything. I don't want you to say anything. I'm not going to do anything or going to say anything, but don't say anything. And then you leave. Venting is not healthy. It's not okay. It's not just getting something off your chest. There's no solution. There's no accountability. There's no result. There's no improvement. So instead, it's really, what are you going to do about that? Do you need support in talking to that person about that problem? Because if you're just talking to me about that problem, you're bringing me in and you're putting me on watch. And now I'm in the passenger seat with you. So my advice would be to really try to discipline yourself to not be the venter, to discipline yourself to not be the complainer, to discipline yourself to really be like, is this helpful? Is this productive? And ask questions. Everything you say should have a question mark at the end, and listen to understand. And I think we all talk to someone with the perspective of like, I already know what they're going to say. But try to take that off and really try to understand that, like, yeah, just try to assume that I open the conversation with what's the most important thing we need to talk about today, because their cat could have passed. Their car could have leaked oil on the way in. Like, we're all one check engine light away from being broke. We're all potentially, you know,
They're the ones who had the boyfriend who had 2 other girlfriends and they just found out. Right.
finding out, you know, what really is going on, because it's really easy to be pissed off at so-and-so who threw my comb in the quats. But really, what's really going on?
Yeah.
Because that's not really what's going on. But a lot of those add up to, I'm out, or I quit, or I can't work with him, or what. And so it's just, but you can't do it alone. And that's what it was when I started researching this drama. And I'll leave some book links too. Simon Sinek, I love. Obviously, Brene Brown, I love. But there's also Cy Wakeman, No Ego. That's a great one. That's where I get my venting definition from. But just really thinking of what's the underlying issue? Where is this person coming from? Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Because it's not about the comb. And it's not about the quats, and it's you know, it could be really that they really can't afford their rent and it went up, and they need to figure out, I mean, they need to figure out how much money they need to make in a day. They need to figure out their template. So we sit down and do an evaluation every 3 months. We call it Hopes and Dreams. We sit with them, we go through all their criteria and everything, but I'm in salon and we still do check-ins, and we you know, it's just, but some people need more check-ins than others. And that's the truth.
And here's what I think that you are really mastering, or have mastered and continue to master, is your ability to manage expectations, people, and emotions. And I think many owners listening, it will take time. What you're hearing from Patricia is you shouldn't and cannot do it alone, and that it is about learning and continuing to grow. And this should be, as a leader, one of the number one skills to focus on and get better and better and better at. So, Patricia, I am so thankful that you joined me today. I appreciate you being here. We'll definitely need to do this again in the future. I look forward to seeing you at some of the upcoming industry events. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today.
Thank you for having me, Katie. I appreciate you so much and all your work. And when you do have stylists that leave, make sure you have all of your team redo their Meet Your Aveda Artist survey. And you send out a huge campaign. This is a best practice. You send out a huge campaign asking your guests to, did you know we have this awesome platform? Because there may be guests that are out there in the ether, that are in your database, that could also be reminded that they need to take the survey and come back to you. And so it's always a good practice whenever you have a new person come on or a person leave, to do that campaign. And you have great templates that can help with that, or you can create your own.
Amazing. Well, we appreciate your shout outs for Maya and of course the Aveda. I love that you call
Oh,
it Meet
I'm
Your
sorry.
Aveda art. No, it's perfect because you're Aveda. Meet Your Aveda artist. That's the right call to
Yeah.
action for Aveda salons all through Maya. We appreciate and love you. And you are wildly successful in so many areas. And it's just a testament to your commitment. You've made the decision to stay committed and you are doing all the best and right things. So I appreciate you and thank you again for being here.
Thanks,
Thank
Kate.
you all for joining us here week after week at Beyond the Technique. If you appreciate this platform, we would love it if you could take a moment to leave us a review wherever you're listening so that more people like yourself will discover Beyond the Technique, where we are here to change the way that you are supported in your business. Until next time, have an awesome day and stay strong.